Hello and welcome to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Meg Campbell, who is a personal trainer and wellness coach, and she has also co-authored the book Personal Wellness Diary. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me again.
It's good to have you back. Can you tell us, you've had natural home births with both of your children. Can you tell us about that experience and what it was like for you?
Sure, I'd love to. Both children were born at home in a birthing pool. We had planned home births and we had a doctor present and 2 midwives for my son's birth, Cooper, who is now 8, and Willow, who is 4. We had 2 midwives at the birth. And I think it was a really beautiful experience, to be honest. It was an environment that I was really comfortable in, which I think certainly helps with the birth process. And both births were I don't want to say easy. They were just beautiful experiences.
Yeah.
So,
and was it still painful, as most
painful?
births are?
It's an interesting question because there was pain, I'm sure there was pain, but my natural pain relief was the water, and I'm really comfortable in water. So I didn't need any pain medication or anything like that. The water sort of took care of that. There's still definitely a pain sensation, but it's a very interesting thing. You don't see it as pain as you would if you had just done a marathon, or it's just a different sort of pain. It was beautiful.
And what about the doctors? So you actually had a doctor come to the home birth. How did that come about?
I actually started in a private hospital. I went to an obstetrician appointment there, and I was really uncomfortable and knew that it really just wasn't for me. I know the importance of hospitals, and I don't think that people shouldn't have births in hospitals or anything like that. But for me, it was just really impersonal. The obstetrician was, sort of running to a clock, and I felt when I left there, wow, this is not the sort of experience that I want or have expected. And so I went and saw a doula, and she put me onto a doctor who delivered babies at home, and works very closely with midwives. So one of my midwives had about 40 years experience, beautiful lady, Jan Ireland, and the doctor was there for Cooper's birth, but we didn't have the doctor for Willow's birth, but we had the 2 midwives who highly capable, experienced, wonderful support.
And you didn't feel you needed the doctor for Willow's birth?
No, I didn't actually, and I didn't even feel I needed it for Cooper's, but I sort of went along with the advice of, it's your first birth and have someone else present.
Yeah.
He actually turned up about 10 minutes before Cooper came out. So the midwives were doing all the work up to that point, and I was doing all the work, I guess, up to that point.
And was it a gentle experience as well, like
it was
a loving,
it was a
gentle
really,
experience?
really gentle experience. I couldn't have asked for a better birth experience with either of the children. My husband and I laboured together for about 4 hours, and then called the midwives, and then the doctor came for the first birth, and then in the second birth, Willow was very ready, so it was about a 45-minute from woe to go. Very, very quick, very different experience, but both still in the water. And Cooper was really involved in that birth as well. He massaged my back and he poured water over my back, and he was really, it was very beautiful.
Was he getting scared at all for you?
No, he wasn't scared at all, but we had done a lot of
preparation.
We'd done a lot of preparation. There's a beautiful book called Hello Baby about home births, and we would read that to him constantly, and he just felt he didn't know any different. So to him it was just the way it was, and it was really, I was very fortunate. I had uncomplicated births, I had uncomplicated pregnancies, I was fit, I was healthy, and I also had a backup hospital in case anything went wrong, which was 5 minutes down the road. But no, I think because I was so comfortable, the births were a lot easier, and I think that's part of the problem, is that birth has become a very fearful thing, and we're designed to do it.
It's like the most natural thing on earth.
It is.
Yet it's become such a clinical thing now.
It has, yeah, it has. And as I said earlier, I really firmly believe the hospitals play a very important role, and some women are far more comfortable in hospitals. My friends would have said to me that they would never have had a home birth. They were far more comfortable in a hospital. So it's
each one makes their own choice. Yeah,
absolutely. And I didn't feel like it was it was a very educated choice that I made.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you did actually some preparation.
I
as
did
well,
a lot
and
of
educated
research.
yourself.
Yeah, I did a lot of research. I also did calm birth, which really prepared me emotionally and physically and mentally for the experience. I did a lot of meditation.
And for our viewers' information, can you tell them what calm birth is?
Sure. Calm birth, it's normally done as a course. I actually did it privately because I started a little bit later into my pregnancy. But it works with really educating the woman about each stage of pregnancy, what to expect, how to breathe in each stage. You do a lot of visualisation, a lot of meditation, and just more than anything, it just empowers you to feel very comfortable with the birthing process and what's going to be happening, and know what to expect. And it just is exactly what it was, just a very calming experience. So lots of breath work.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful program.
So was calm birth, was that educating you through the whole pregnancy? And can you tell us about that? And it's not just the end result.
No,
Yeah.
it is a course that you can do throughout the whole pregnancy. I started a bit late, so I had private classes with Lael Stone, who was my
supervisor or teacher?
Yeah, she was my teacher, and Steve was involved, my husband, as well.
Yeah, that's good.
So it is throughout the pregnancy that it's available to you.
And did you do research on home birthing particularly?
Oh, absolutely, I did. Yeah, I did. I spoke to several people, professionals, and to doulas and midwives and people who had home births, and I also read several wonderful books.
Beautiful. All right, we're about to go to a break now.
Okay.
You're watching Nat Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Meg Campbell, who is a personal trainer and wellness coach and also a co-author of Personal Wellness Diary. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Mirella.
And for the viewers who haven't heard that name, doula, can you explain what the name doula means?
Sure. A doula is a qualified birth support person, and also really great at giving advice on what type of birth you are wanting to have, helps you with your birth plan, and there as a support person.
Okay. And all of this, having the home birth, the doctor at home, the midwives at home and the doula at home, is that a very costly?
It was more out-of-pocket expense than had I had my children in a hospital. But for me it was worth it because it was exactly what I wanted and the environment that I felt most comfortable in.
And also bringing up your children naturally and healthily. How did you bring up your children? I mean, they're still children, but you breastfed them
I did actually,
yeah.
I did. I was fortunate enough to feed both my children for around 2 years. That's and good. They have really robust, healthy immune systems. They get the odd cold and things, but they are both great eaters. Cooper's a little more picky than my daughter Willow, but they have a really varied diet. So they're both very well and healthy and happy children.
Yeah, and fit too, aren't they?
They do. They enjoy their.
I saw you down at the park, and Willow was only, I think, a few years old. I don't know how she might have been 2 or 3 then. She'd ridden her tricycle,
that's right,
her scooter all the way down.
Yeah.
And also, as far as motivational tips for other people who are trying to get fit and trying to get healthy and want to start perhaps on their own, what sort of tips can you give someone to encourage them if they can't perhaps afford a personal trainer, but they really do want to get their life in order, and they just don't have the finances to get a personal trainer, how could you help them with some advice?
Great. I think that small steps is always the key when people are first starting out. So just knowing that anything that they're doing is better than doing nothing, and not setting unrealistic expectations of themselves. So start by deciding I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk, and then once you're out you might feel like walking for longer, and then you might feel like running, and just doing it in small steps is the way to go. Keep away from extreme behaviours, so whether that's extreme exercise or extreme dieting or anything that's not sustainable. There are lots of resources online these days where you can have personal trainer online, you can have yoga classes online, and a lot of them are free resources.
Oh, wow.
So you could just Google that, free personal training or free
that's good.
yoga or whatever it may be. Join a group exercise. I have a little group exercise class I do out on the beach and have done for the last 12 years, and that's a far more affordable option. Join a friend, whatever it takes in terms of getting out there and moving, and probably most importantly, find something that you enjoy doing, because no one wants to go out and do something that they hate doing. You just won't stick to it. So if it's dancing in your lounge room with some tunes on, it's still movement, it's still exercise, it's bringing you joy. It doesn't have to be clinical and structured.
Okay. And also outdoor activity is probably better as well, isn't it?
Sure,
Because you
you
get the
can
benefit
use
of the
the
sun.
park, you can... There are so many things you can do. All you need is a pair of runners, and these days you don't even need a pair of runners. People are barefoot running and walking and grounding themselves close to the earth. So really it's just a matter of deciding how you want to feel and how you can get there, just small steps if you're just starting out. But as I said, there's lots of available resources online as well.
Okay. And do you ever get overwhelmed with, like, if you get a lot of clients who are all overweight, do you ever get overwhelmed and sort of think, oh, I'll start putting on weight now because they're all overweight? And I'm sort of mixing with people that are like that you actually start eating more because you're putting so much into it. Does it ever affect you in that way?
No, I think it would be the complete opposite for me. I think it motivates me to stay healthy and fit and feel good. And I think that when there's so many reasons people put on weight, Mirella. Some people are training really hard and eating all the right foods, and they don't shift weight, and it's because they're stressed or they're not sleeping. Stress is a really big one. So a lot of my work with my client base is surrounded by how do we bring stress down in your life, because you don't achieve the things you want to achieve physically, mentally, emotionally if you are under stress, and most of us are having, it's a fast-paced world we live in these days. So bringing the stress down and identifying where the stress is coming from. It's not always just from your workplace or just from your family life. There's so many stresses, and it comes down to nutrition. Is your nutrition stressful on your body? Are you sleeping well? Do you exercise regularly? Do you have joy in your life? Do you practice gratitude? All these things that bring good feelings to our body alleviate stress, and it's the stress that makes people hold weight a lot of the time because of the hormone cortisol that's released into the body when you're stressed.
And also, is there guilt that comes into it? Because you think, if I'm exercising for me, I'm not looking out for all the rest of the people.
I don't know that I would
life.
say guilt. For me, I just, as I said, I think in the previous show, I love feeling good. I love moving. I love ticking the boxes with all of that stuff, and I love not being extreme. There was a time in my life I was extreme with my exercise and my competing, and it's nice to be at a balanced point, and I think that's a nice place to be. So I don't think I don't feel guilty about if I'm not doing the right thing, because I tend to do the right thing.
No, not you. I'm just saying with the clients, when
with
you
the
said the
clients.
causes for their overweight might have been stress, and I was thinking maybe it's also guilt. They don't want to. They feel like if they do something for themselves, they're being selfish. So they still eat and they still do all these other things that's negative.
Yeah, I definitely think it can be a real. I've worked with a lot of mums, and it can be a real battle for mothers to put themselves first. And it's a lesson to be learnt and learnt quite early on, because you don't need a huge amount of time. You can have 10 minutes breathing time, and that can be nourishing for you. You know, you can practice 10 deep breaths at night, and that's nourishing for you. You can go and have a bath or read a book or go out for a walk. It doesn't have to be that you're allotting or allocating 2 hours a day to your stuff. And I know, as well as anyone, it's difficult to put yourself first, but important.
All right, on that note, we have to go to a break.
Okay.
You're watching Nat Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Meg Campbell, who is a personal trainer and wellness coach and also co-author of the book Personal Wellness Diary. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Mirella.
And can you tell us, what sort of clientele do you work with?
I work with a really diverse range of clientele, actually. Having done it for 20 years, I think my clientele has sort of followed periods in my life. So I used to work with a lot of athletes. When having children, I specialised in pre and postnatal training, so to help women through their pregnancies. I work a lot with people who are just trying to change their well-being. Basically, I do lots of wellness coaching now, which is more of a conversation and assessing where people are at in their lives, how they want to make change, if there's change necessary, how confident they are, and then taking the small steps to achieve a bit of a vision for them. So my work really varies. I've done a lot of rehabilitative work. I don't work specifically with bodybuilders, obviously people who are wishing to change their physique, but that's not my main passion. It's about all those other things that I do. So lots and lots. I work with corporate groups.
Okay.
All sorts of people.
And how many hours would you be working a day?
In a day, it really varies. Probably in a week, I try not to go over about 25 hours because well, up till now, I've had Willow at home as well, so it encroaches on my time with her, but that's contact hours, and then there's all the administrative stuff that goes along with that.
Okay. And what advice could you give, say, some people who have been overweight all their life and for years, and they would really like to shift it, lose it? How would you advise them? Because, you know, you hear of people that have actually died and they've died overweight. It was something they wanted to do before they died, but they didn't do it.
Yes.
So is there something to help people to, why is this such a problem? Why is it what is this block that's stopping people?
Yeah, look, I think people are overweight for different reasons. So it's a tough question to answer straight out, but I think that the most important thing is to actually look at everything that's going on in someone's life. So it isn't just about prescribing more exercise or prescribing a really clean diet. You really have to look at what's happening within their life emotionally. Stress is a really big one, as I mentioned earlier. Stress is a huge one for weight gain. Sleep is another one for weight gain. So you want to look at what's happening in someone's life in all different aspects, and then take it from there. So if someone's really stressed, that's what I would work on, and prescribing exercise that's very intense for that sort of person will actually bring more stress to the body. So we maybe go down a different, more restorative path with exercise in that case. So it really is such an individual thing, and I think that that's where my passion comes in, is identifying what's happening with someone and really delving into it and individualising it, because there really is no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. And with your clients, have you watched them, have you had clients that have been overweight when they started and they've lost the weight, reached their goals when they've worked with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a really rewarding thing for both of them and myself but very rarely do you achieve that by only focusing on one thing, as I said. So the exercise is a very small component of what I do with people and how I work with people. But yes, definitely. I mean, some of my clients I've been with for many years and they've been through major transitions in that time. So
that's what I was going to ask you. How long do you usually stay with a client?
It really depends. Yeah. It depends on why they're with me. I have clients that I mentioned on the last show that I worked with his rehabilitation. He's 16 years later, he's still with me.
So he's still working with you now?
He's still working with me now.
Wow.
So yes, it just depends. Some people are doing short-term. I've got a lady at the moment who's just training up to her wedding. And then there's other people I've been with for many, many years. So
okay. And so how often would they see you? Say, for example, this skier, how often would he see you?
He only sees me once a week, but he's really disciplined about doing his own movement and practicing good health in the meantime. Right. And some people I see 3 times a week, some people I see once a month to keep them on track.
Yeah. And is his body, the skier, is his body completely restored from his injury?
It is, yes.
So everything's come back?
Well, all of his function has come back.
Oh, that's good. So he didn't have it, wasn't complete. That's fantastic. That's great.
It is. It's a wonderful story, actually. He's done very, very well. He's limited in his mobility a little bit, but it doesn't stop him. He's quite determined.
Yeah. There's a few people out there that have just sort of conquered things, haven't they? They've been told they won't be able to do something or probably won't be able to do something.
And it's sort of a bit of fuel for them. It makes them go.
Show you that, if I do this, I can...
Yeah. A lot of mental strength there as well.
Do you find that, what sort of courses did you have to do? You've done counselling courses as well,
I have. I've done counselling courses. I've done specialists pre and postnatal. I've done speed agility courses for my athletic coaching and strength and conditioning. I am one of those people that I will do courses every year. Yeah. So over the 20 years, I started with a human movement degree, Bachelor of Applied Science, Human Movement. I then went on to a Bachelor of Education, Teaching, and then every year I update and do further courses and further study. So I think you need to do that because it just keeps you fresh. Things do change in the industry. Yeah. And you want to keep on top of everything that's going on in all the aspects.
And did you do a course in rehab as well?
In rehabilitation, yes, and worked very, very closely with a physiotherapist for a long time. We worked really closely with her clients, so I've learned a lot from her as well. Yeah. So...
Oh, that's good. That's unreal. And so in the future you hope to start like a retreat centre, like a wellness...
my vision is to be involved in a wellbeing centre. And that's always been my vision, but with having the children, I didn't want to take away that time that would be needed. They're both at school next year, so we'll see where things take me. Moving forward.
But you wouldn't live there at the wellness place? Like, it wouldn't be like a retreat centre would be like a one-off thing, you'd say... You'd organise it somewhere else.
Yes, and you can do overseas retreats and all sorts of things. And I think the retreats are really affordable retreats. Are just a really lovely thing for people to do. Again.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the program. It's been great having you.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You've been watching Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich, and our guest was Meg Campbell. Hope you enjoyed the program. See you again soon.